Hi, I'm Liz,
And I'm Jess.
and this is Aish That's Dark.
Let's get into it.
Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome back to Aish That's Dark, the show where we sit in a lounge and just talk about the most messed up, haunting, deeply South African stories you didn't learn in school. I'm Liz, I've done the research, and I will be leading you through the darkness today.
And I'm Jess, and I'm here to react appropriately.
Or inappropriately. Yes, exactly. Very important. Yeah, Jess's job is extremely important. Well, before we start, we do want to say very quickly before we get into it that the show is victim centered. Even though today's story differs a little bit from our usual content, these are real people, real families. We don't make fun of victims, we take our time with them. We give them their names. And we give you the full story, context and all, because South African history. Why did I say African?
because of the house.
Goodness me. This is the second show we're recording
It's all
today.
good. It's all
But
good.
you know what?
It might be a little
Slip-ups
bit
will happen. I think you guys need to hear our slip-ups every once in a while.
all good.
So-
So, here.
Yes, because South African, rather, history is a lot. And stories don't make sense without their soil.
So, what are you talking to us about today? I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, your sentence phrasing was a little weird.
What are you talking about with us today?
Still, your phrasing was a little
What are you
weird.
talking about today? Don't pass it on.
This is also the podcast where we show you the ins and outs and how difficult it is to record a podcast. We have learned that lesson the very hard way. So, what goes into soil, Jess?
Earth. Sand.
Soil is technically earth, so I'm going to give you a little point there.
Mm.
But usually, we bury bodies in the earth. So today, we are going to be talking about ghosts. Figuratively, spiritually, let's not overthink it.
Except that I'm quite an overthinky person when it comes to the paranormal. So I'm going to be your
You're going to be my
I'm
little
going to be your
skeptic.
skeptic. Yes, just going to be open about
Yeah,
that.
I think, just like PSA before we start. I'm also kind of a skeptic, but I would love to go exploring and like overnight at places and have all of the ghost equipment and see for myself. Because currently, yes, I do love hearing them, watching things about ghosts. But do I really believe? That remains to be seen.
I've never seen anything. Like I've heard stories, but most of the stories I have heard are often taken a step too far. So it just makes you question like, did that really happen? So I'm like really interested to see, what are you going to talk about? And also how it relates to South Africa, because even in the title.
Oh, there is so much to talk about today. You are going to
I'm
love this
excited. I'm
episode.
very excited.
We are going to the oldest building in South Africa, and we are going out onto the most dangerous waters in the world. And both of them are haunted, allegedly. Let me get you into the right mood. It is 2:00 in the morning. The year is 1947. You are a soldier standing guard inside the oldest building in South Africa. A stone fortress built by enslaved hands 300 years ago on the shores of a bay where 3,000 ships have gone to their graves.
I'm already hearing it has got a very sad history. Not only is it built by slaves, which is terrible,
Yeah.
but it's also sank a lot of ships, or a lot of shores have had sunken ships. So it's kind of setting the scene for
It is.
if something paranormal is going to happen, it is going to love that place because of the terrible.
It is
energy
already
that's going
setting the
on there.
mood for an event.
Yeah,
Like an abundance of tragic events.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So the corridors are narrow. The walls are 4 feet thick. Somewhere below you, there's a dungeon they call the Donker Gat, or, for our English speakers, the Dark Hole, where prisoners were once chained to the walls and left to drown when the winter floods came in.
That sounds like torture. It's not just execution.
Oh, that's absolutely torture.
Because it's like not only are you just getting killed, like you're waiting for the tide
You
to come in to kill you.
You know you're gonna die. You're just waiting for the right season, apparently.
No.
When all of a sudden you hear footsteps, not yours, coming from that passage that has been bricked shut since the 1700s.
You know, that's the part when I leave because my Uber's here. And
Yeah, you're just gonna leave on out of there being like,
cool, bye.
sponge
Just knowing you.
I'm gonna head out and set off of your chair. Well, let's see where this takes us. You are not the first to hear them, though. You will not be the last. Guards have been hearing things in this castle for centuries. Some of them quit. Some of them refused to walk past the dungeon alone. One corporal got so desperate to explain the figure on the battlements that he ordered a private to dress in a bedsheet and pretend to be a ghost. And nobody was fooled, because they already knew that the real thing looked nothing like that.
So, wait, this sounds very funny. They got like a full-ass grown man to dress up like a ghost in a bedsheet to prove that
they were like, listen, we saw something. We are not sure if it was like a group hallucination. Could you just like parade in the field like a ghost?
But I'm very surprised that it didn't work. It's super. It would think it did.
You would think, right?
That's sarcasm, just by the way.
you know, sarcasm is my love language. So, somewhere out on the ocean, right now, tonight, according to the people who will swear on everything they hold dear, there is a ship. A ship with sails full of wind that isn't blowing. A ship that has been seen by the future King of England, by World War II naval officers, by dozens of beachgoers on a calm Sunday afternoon. A ship that has been crossing these waters since before that castle was built. A ship that never, ever docks.
So not only are we dealing with ghosts today, but the whole ghost ship is what I'm hearing.
Oh, yes.
And it's been supposedly seen by people from generations.
Dozens and dozens and dozens throughout the years.
Crazy-ish.
So this is Cape Town, and these are its ghosts. And this is the episode where we go to the oldest, darkest, most haunted corners of the mother city, because the dead at the Cape of Good Hope have a lot to say. They've been saying it for 400 years, and nobody has told its story properly until now. So, Jess, welcome to the Specters of the Cape.
I don't know what to say. I'm skeptical. I'm intrigued. That was a great intro. I'm just like,
thank you.
We're just sitting here in our room with Red Bulls.
Red Bull, not sponsored, but willing to be. Red Bull, if you're listening.
It sounds crazy. I mean, Red Bull loves crazy stories and things. So
yeah, and I think Red Bull loves Cape Town, so we're right in their demographic. So let's start with the stone. So the founding of the Castle of Good Hope and the violence baked into its walls, that is just so poetic. Mm-hmm. On the 6th of April, 1652, we are going back.
Old-timey. I thought my case was old-timey, but this is like next level.
Oh, yeah.
Even documented that old is.
It was documented on parchment or on stone. We do not know, and we also are not historians. We cannot tell you about the accuracy of this, but we have done our research. So, on the 6th of April, 1652, a man named Jan van Riebeek, we all know, really? Uncle Jan, he stepped off of a ship and onto the shore of what we now call Cape Town. He was there on orders from the Dutch East India Company, the VOC, or called the Verenigde Oost-Indische Compagnie.
I'm so glad that you're Afrikaans, because I couldn't pronounce that.
Okay, but that's also not Afrikaans.
I know it's that. That's right. I know, but it has the same. It has the same nuances as Afrikaans.
This is my time to shine.
Mm-hmm.
So it was arguably the most powerful corporation in human history at that point. Their mission was to set up a refueling station for ships traveling between Europe and Asia. Fresh water, vegetables, sheep. It was a petrol station for the spice trade.
You mean a garage?
Oh, yeah. A garage. No, it's a petrol station. You have to say it with the Afrikaans accent. So Van Riebeeck built a small fort out of clay and timber near the beach, roughly where Adderley Street is today. It was called the Fort de Goedehoop, and it was, by all accounts, a mess. Vulnerable to weather, vulnerable to attack, constantly needing repairs. They also built 2 small defensive outposts at the mouth of the Salt River. Redoubt Kuikait, which means lookout, and Redoubt Duinhoop, which means dune heap.
Dune heap. So you're telling me this is one of South Africa's initial outlooks? Posts?
Yeah.
And it's called dune heap. Like, I would not imagine being like, oh, where are you going? You know, from Europe. Be like, oh yeah, so we're going to this little initial town called Dune Heap. Be like,
yeah,
that sounds very confidence inspiring, and
it was all the
I
rage.
have so much confidence in that.
It was all the rage back then. You just had to be there. No, it sounds sad, but let's continue. Luckily, this is not the main part.
Probably is that. That's why it's in this podcast.
It's true. Right. So by the 1660s, war between England and the Netherlands was looking increasingly likely. And the little clay fort was not going to cut it. Van Riebeeck's successor, a man named Zacharias Wagenaar, was instructed to build something that would last. A pentagonal fortress in stone. The first stone was laid on the 2nd of January, 1666. I don't like that year.
That's actually your...
That's still a maybe.
It is kind of freaky. The fact that now it's a place for paranormal activity, and that's when it was built.
And like the first stone was laid in like 1666.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just casually overlook that part there. Yeah. Dang. Let's just ignore the facts. So the engineer was Pieter Domber. The carpenter, Adrian van Breikel. The master mason, Doe Steen. The granite was cut from Signal Hill. The blue slate and the shells were transported from Robben Island. Yes, I know what you're thinking. It is that Robben Island across Table Bay.
It's actually crazy though, because Robben Island is such a massive part of South African history with Nelson Mandela, and it's already being brought into this 300 years before Mandela is part of.
See, so it's like kind of, I don't know, it's interconnecting a bunch of all of these.
That's what I love about South African history though, because everything's connected. It's crazy. I love it.
You can stand in front of a whiteboard and have like that red string connecting all of these stories, and you're like, it's all connected. Yes. The labor, how was that decided? So the VOC had decided early on that enslaving the local population was too risky. They feared a revolt.
Well,
which is rightfully so.
Yeah.
Why would you want to enslave the local people?
Why would you want to enslave anyone?
Yeah, okay.
What is the time?
Anyone.
It is the time though, but as much as it's insanely messed up and
unfortunately that was the time.
Yeah.
Right, but they feared a revolt, which I think was a little forward thinking on their part, because people didn't think, oh, they're going to rise up. No, they were going to overpower you and absolutely destroy you.
And they're good fighters, like
insanely good fighters.
Like, yeah,
they were built for this.
Yeah.
Instead, they imported enslaved people. Not better.
No.
They were like, you know what? We don't want the locals. We're going to get internationals, which I think is even worse.
It sounds so.
Not even is that a slap in the face to the local population. You know what? There's enough of you here already. We're just going to get our own. Which it's unfortunately part of South Africa's history. Let us never
forget world history, honestly. But
that is true.
It's so terrible. But, you know, we have to acknowledge it and talk about it, because if you forget history, then it repeats itself.
Exactly.
That's the thing about history. So
exactly. But okay, so they imported enslaved people, right? But that is not even the worst part. They imported up to 60,000 of them.
Dang.
That's a lot of people. And they did it from Madagascar, from Mozambique, from the Dutch East Indies, from India.
So these people are from literally all across the world, pretty much.
They were like, you know what? We want diversity, but this was the wrong time to be inclusive. These people, alongside soldiers, sailors, and volunteers, built the Castle of Good Hope with their bare hands. The local population watched it rise and gave it the name Koikep, stone enclosure.
That kind of, I don't know, I like that name.
Mm.
I don't know.
Koikep?
Yeah.
It sounds
Stone
nice.
enclosure. It's
Because
it's also like a foretelling of what's coming.
it's very
and
foreshadowing.
kind of what it, like, not only is it obviously like a fortress where it's supposed to be an enclosure, but just everything is stood for with being made by slaves and everything. It's very,
It's like it's a stone enclosure. It's meant to keep you in.
yeah.
So let's keep that in mind as we continue along with this. The construction of it took 13 years. So 60,000 people, mind you, but it took 13 years to complete construction. The VOC kept cutting the budget. Even that time, they were just cutting budget. Like, is this just human nature at this point?
No, it's just South Africa.
That's just South Africa.
From the beginning.
So, but on the 26th of April, 1679, the Castle of Good Hope was complete. 5 bastions named after the titles of William III, Prince of Orange-Nassau, Leerdam, Buren, Katzelenbogen. Did I say that correctly?
I'm not even going to try.
Katzenellenbogen.
It sounds good to me, and if it's wrong, then
Apologies.
correct us and tell us.
Please contact us on social media and tell us how to do that. Please school us. But to continue, Nassau and Oranje. It was and remains the oldest surviving colonial building in South Africa. It is still standing right now in the middle of Cape Town. You can walk through it on a Tuesday afternoon. You can stand in the courtyard where governors gave orders and enslaved people were flogged. You can look at its walls that were built by people who were stolen from their homes and shipped across oceans to lay stone in a country that was not theirs, for a company that did not see them as human.
As much as this building, I want to say, it represents and it comes from such a dark place, I'm so glad that it is still standing, that we can still visit it, that we can still, see how far we've come.
And also realize the actual labor it took and how those people suffered.
Exactly.
It's a constant reminder of our mistakes.
Truly, yes.
If you think about it. And it's also very contradictory towards, it's called the Castle of Good Hope.
Yeah.
But it was not built on, I want to say, the concept of hope.
Exactly.
It's completely opposite. But as bleak as that fact is, let's just continue with the story.
Yes.
Let's just keep reminding ourselves that, yes, these are real people. This is what happened. And unfortunately, it is a part of our history.
100%.
So if you go at the right time or the wrong time, you might see something you cannot explain. But first you need to understand who lived there and who died there. This part is going to cover the death of Pieter Gijsbert van Noort and the most famous curse in South African history. Don't you just love a good curse?
Actually, I haven't heard of many in South Africa, so this is exciting for me. Like, you don't hear of curses in South Africa. I also think South Africans are quite suspicious, but also very,
I think, very religious, so we don't mess with the things we're unsure of.
No. I mean, I'm very glad of that because it can get really messy.
Yeah, no, like, let's not even go there. But yay, it's baby's first curse, and I'm going to introduce it to you. Right. So for over 100 years, the castle was the center of everything at the Cape. Government, military, social life, trade. The governor lived there. The council met there. More than 25 VOC ships stopped at the Cape every year to stock up on provisions. The castle was a world unto itself. A fortress containing a church, a bakery, workshops, living quarters, shops, and prison cells. Let's not forget the prison cells. It was painted yellow because yellow reduced the effect of heat and sun, which, great, yellow.
Happy color.
It's a happy, once again, it contradicts itself. It's a happy color. But then you remind yourself it was built on top of suffering.
And there's just so much to digest here. Because if you think about it, it's where the governor lived, but it's also where the prison cell is. It's where shops, workshops.
So it was basically like a tiny little village.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the crazy because it's combining so many different classes of people. So it's just like probably like the highest of the high people, the governor, versus the poorest of the poor, which is
And also prisoners. And for that time period, you could get arrested for stealing a loaf of bread.
exactly.
Once again, it's direct contradictions against each other. In 1682, the original sea-facing entrance was replaced with a new gate bearing the coat of arms of the United Netherlands. 2 years later, a bell tower was built above the entrance. The bell itself, cast in Amsterdam in 1697, weighing over 300 kilograms, and it became the oldest bell in South Africa.
300 kilograms.
That's a lot, but
That's very heavy.
but also you don't realize how big those bells are if you stand next to one in real life.
That's true.
It is gigantic, but once again, it was named for United Netherlands and it came from Amsterdam. So once again, it's just all of these things built into the heart of South Africa, but it's not even from South Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
Once again, it's an enigma. The bell announced the time. It called the soldiers and it warned of danger. And you could hear it 10 kilometers away. How big was that bell?
That is really far.
How big is that bell? I mean,
I'd love to hear that, honestly.
I've never been there.
I mean, I love hearing church bells because
absolutely.
on a Sunday morning, I live close to a church and it rings the bells every morning at like 9 o'clock. And it's nice. It reminds me also of my childhood. It's like a comforting sound. And
yeah, but I think
I don't think that was comforting.
If you were living in the 1600s, a bell was probably not the best thing.
Yeah, no, just what I said. I don't think I'd be very comforted back then. It kind of sounds more like a.
It sounds like a warning. Like it literally said, it warned people.
Yeah.
So in 1695, a defensive cross wall called the Cut was completed, dividing the courtyard diagonally. The Cut housed the governor's residence and a grand council hall that doubled as the first Dutch Reformed church at the Cape until 1704. Later, between 1786 and 1790, sculptor Anton Anrieth and architect Louis Mitchell Thibault, I hope I'm saying that correctly.
See, it's super fast.
I did not realize this story had so many names. Goodness me. I'm in for it today, folks. So they built the Cut balcony. The Cut balcony. So it had fluted pillars, wrought iron railings, curved staircases. From that balcony, announcements were made. Judicial sentences were read. The fates of soldiers, enslaved people, and citizens were declared to whoever stood below. So it sounds like, once again, this regal thing dividing those who were deemed deserving and those who were deemed as lesser than others.
Less than random.
Exactly. It's once again, this is the theme. Today's theme is contradictions.
Yes, it's really.
Yeah. Brought to you by the Castle of Good Hope. Let's continue. So this brings us to the 23rd of April, 1728, and to a governor named Pieter Gijsbert van Noort.
Should I be having a bad feeling about this governor, or is he like a really great guy?
You know, I think you would have learned by this point that maybe save your good vibes for another time. Hey?
Okay.
Yeah. So Van Noort was, by every account we have, a cruel man.
Great.
Yeah, there's your answer. Straight up. Not even sugarcoating it. He was tyrannical. He was known for mistreating servants and soldiers alike. And on that April morning, he had a decision to make. 7 soldiers had been caught deserting. The council had already passed a sentence, and it was lenient, to say the least. Van Noort overruled it. He condemned all 7 men to death by hanging.
You see, I hate it when someone can just have the power to do that. Like, we have these judicial systems in place where people can just, they have a fair trial and there's court systems and stuff. And it sounds like, the council, a group of people had already passed a sentence to them. And this big know-it-all guy is like, you know what? I'm the main guy here and I'm going to just take over. And
I am not happy.
I have these people's life in my hands and I can just extinguish them. And
this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So the men were taken to the gallows. And for those who don't know, gallows is where hangings happened. It's called the gallows. Many famous songs about gallows. Just Google gallows, you'll get everything you ever wanted.
Just be careful.
Or maybe don't.
Yeah, maybe it's a little...
Trigger warning
Yeah,
for gallows.
then just...
Trigger warning for gallows. One of the men that was condemned. So this is reported in some accounts to be a theological candidate, a man of faith. So this man, he led with faith. Unfortunately, he was caught deserting. He turned to the crowd and cursed the governor. He demanded that Van Noort watch the execution, that he witness what he had ordered. And Van Noort refused. He stayed in his quarters and he did not watch. And the 7 men were hanged.
But it's so infuriating to me. This guy, this know-it-all, sounds like such a douche.
Right.
First of all, he overrules the sentences, and he doesn't have the guts to watch what he ordered.
Exactly.
Why don't we learn about this in school? I have never heard anything about this.
No,
Like,
neither.
We all get, as South Africans, I'm sure most countries know, you hear about your own country's history and you hear about what a great guy these initial leaders were and how a country was established and, you know, everything good they did for our country. You don't hear the stuff, all the bad things.
Yeah, you don't hear the bad things. Obviously, you learn about apartheid in school.
Yeah, obviously, but because what about before then as well?
You don't hear about the enslaving of people.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about the segregation, but you don't know about the slaves. And then also schools focus on the major events that happen in history, but not in their own country. I think that is something that has to be like changed. Like, can we get the Department of Education here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, please, we have some important stories to tell.
But they didn't have to die, first of all, because, you know,
they didn't.
He overruled their sentence. I'm sure they would have had a perfectly reasonable punishment for.
I think that it would be like just imprisonment.
Yeah, or being flogged or whatever. But like
imprisonment.
But who are you to say these people deserve to die?
Exactly.
Who are you to do that? I mean, that is different from capital punishment because it's not like a group of people are, you know, saying, "Oh, you did a crime that's worthy of death."
Yeah,
it's not like there's a whole jury with you know.
So let's say like deserting is still today, I think, in the countries that have their armies and their military forces.
Yeah,
deserting is still a very, very, very bad crime to do.
Yeah, no, I get
that. And so yeah, it's still punished today. I don't know how it is punished, but it is still punished with leniency still, but it is still
also they're punished with a system that's set in place. These people were punished by the people that were set in place to deal with it, but then some other guy came and was like, actually, no, I want to do it my way, and you guys are going to have to die.
Yeah, he came into this whole situation and go, actually, I don't agree.
I'm so glad we've mostly learned from this, and
mostly live.
It depends on where you live.
It depends on where you live. Yeah. Depends on where you live. Right, but let's continue with this because I think you will find that this little let's say situation ends on a little good note. Well, at least for me, because I think it's just deserved. But let me not run ahead of myself. So later that same day, the literal same day that those men were hanged and Van Noort was cursed to watch this execution.
Well, because he didn't watch that execution.
He didn't watch it.
Yes.
Yeah. Pieter Gijsbert Van Noort was found dead at his desk. He had been perfectly healthy that morning, in perfect health. And they said the official cause? A heart attack. Witnesses who found him said his face was frozen in an expression of absolute terror.
So the same day, he was fine.
Yeah.
And then he died after being cursed. And he looked terrified.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like he might have witnessed something or seen something.
Exactly.
Or someone paid him a visit.
I am actually getting like goosebumps. Like little
you guys can't see my face, but Liz is reading this and
I'm like, what is going on? Like, I just see her eyes like opening and narrowing. Like, but no, so like even this gives me like goosebumps because whether it was like a weird coincidence or whether it was an actual thing.
I don't really believe in coincidences personally.
Like,
sometimes it's too much of a coincidence. It's like, no, that can't be a coincidence. I don't know.
But you and I have had like weird coincidences as well.
Yep, see, but it's not a coincidence then, you see? It's like,
What else would it be?
it just happened. It's like, not a coincidence. It just happens. It's not a coincidence because, I don't know, either you saw something or something happened.
No, so I think,
Karma, I don't know.
like, obviously the man could have had a heart attack. Who knows? They say he was in
Yes.
perfect health, but what did they do? Did they scan
I guess
him?
back in the day, you couldn't really tell.
Yeah, they were like,
tell.
you're breathing, you are in perfect health. But yeah, so nobody would bury him in sacred ground. They absolutely refused. So he was put into an unmarked grave. His chair, the chair he was sitting in when they found him, is reportedly still on display at the Koopmans de Wet Museum in Cape Town. And you can go and look at it.
You know, I don't think I'm going to go look at that because it seems like it's some bad juju.
Oh, I'm absolutely taking you to that. When you are moving, we are going to that museum and we are going to go look at that bloody chair. And we will report later if some bad juju did in fact happen.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, so and then his ghost never left the castle. So apparently he still roams there.
What is he doing to the people in that castle?
We will find out, I hope. Otherwise, he's just very displeased. I assume he is walking around with a permanent frown on his face.
It sounded like he was displeased in life in general, so he probably hasn't changed much in death either.
Oh, absolutely. Like if you're a bad person in life, you're a bad person in death.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and talk about more of the history of the castle. Specifically, the Donkergat, or as established, the dark hole. The bell tower's suicide, trigger warning there, please. If you're sensitive to this, you can skip ahead or we'll see you in the next one. But just know that we are talking about sensitive subject. And the violence that soaked into the stone.
I love how that sounds.
Right? It's so poetic.
It is, truly.
Absolutely. If the Castle of Good Hope has a heart, it is the courtyard. If it has a soul, it is the cut balcony. But if it has a stomach, a place where things were swallowed and never came back, it's the Donkergat. The Donkergat, the dark hole, a windowless dungeon beneath the castle that served as both prison cell and torture chamber. In the early decades of the settlement, enslaved people from across Asia and Africa were imprisoned there. Tortured, executed. Public floggings were common. The gallows were well used. If you tried to escape, if you were what they would call a droster, an escaped slave, an outlaw, a rebel, this is where you ended up. If you were lucky.
If you were lucky. That's the lucky version. So
yeah.
Oh, I don't really know what the unlucky version is, but that sounds like hell.
Let's explore that, shall we? Lady Anne Barnard. We'll come back to her. She is important. Wrote in her own recordings that during winter floods, the water in the dungeon rose 3 feet within a minute. 3 feet in 60 seconds.
That's crazy.
And the prisoners were chained to the walls.
So they drowned, obviously, as they were chained to the walls.
They drowned.
It's literally a medieval torture. I'm sure that happened. I'm sure I've read about a medieval torture that's happened like that, where they would chain them to the rocks, and then the tide would come up and drown them.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I'm sure I've heard of that.
Yes, or it was mentioned in some novel or somewhere.
That's
but
insane.
No.
How do people come up with this? Like, how messed up do you have to be like, oh yeah, let's just, chain people to a castle and, let them get drowned by the tide and,
I think maybe it was, okay, this is a happy circumstance. It's not a happy circumstance. But what if they built those dungeons and then the engineer went to the governor and he was like, we have a problem. There's a leak in the dungeon. And they go down and it's the entire ocean filling up that dungeon. The governor's like, oh, wonderful.
The governor's like, that's not a problem. That's a solution.
No, so not that I think that anyone within their right mind would actually build a dungeon where people were meant to drown. Let's just establish that.
People do that.
They do. We have messed up people in this world.
We have hella messed up people.
Yeah, so let's not look past that. They drowned. Chained in the dark, in rising water, in a dungeon under a castle that were built by people who had been enslaved just like them. That is the Donkergat. That is what dark hole means. And then there's the bell tower. So sometime in the 1700s, the exact date is lost. There's no record of it. A soldier was found hanging from the bell rope, dead. Trigger warning, a suicide. After his death, the bell tower was sealed off and bricked up, closed permanently. And yet, for centuries after, witnesses have reported hearing the bell ring at random times with no one inside.
That's one of the most spookiest things I've ever heard.
I'm just thinking, I see you like trying to comprehend this.
It's like, no, because there's a whole, like, obviously there's a bell there, but it's bricked up. I mean, didn't they say that bell can be heard from
10 kilometers away?
And everyone knows this thing's obviously been bricked up. And then you just hear it ringing, often knowing
Randomly.
what happened to the person.
And so I don't think it would be like that loud of a ring because not everyone hears it. So just like in the faint distance, you would hear that bell ring and you're like, what is happening?
Nope.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
So good.
Like, I love to see your reaction to this. I'm actually like getting the tingles because I'm like, yes, we did a video too. I'm just Mary out. So there's one more thing about the castle's architecture that matters for what comes next. So over the years, during renovations and restoration work, builders have found rooms, that had been bricked up for centuries, sealed, hidden. Architects who have studied the floor plans have concluded that the castle must contain additional chambers that have never been opened. Rooms no one alive has seen.
I really want to go open those rooms.
Right? It's like, what will I find?
I know it's like probably something terrible, but I'm so curious. It's like, how can you know that those things are sealed and not want to open them? Like, what's in there? What are they hiding?
What are they hiding?
Yeah.
That's where like exactly.
It's also a part of our history. I'm like, I want to know.
What if there's like important documentation?
Don't leave it sealed. Open it.
It's like, oh,
unless it's like the mummy.
Yeah, I was going to be like, let's open the mummies first, like, right then and there. So, in the 1940s, which we all know was an integral, very important part in our history for the world, few years after that, but in the 1940s, during an excavation near one of the castle's old sally gates. So a sally gate, for those who don't know, is a small hidden exit in a fortification used for surprise attacks or escapes.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
There you go. There you go. I'm happy to help. So during one of the excavations, workers unearthed a female skeleton. No identification, no record of who she was or how she got there. A woman buried in the walls of the Castle of Good Hope, unknown and unmourned. Remember this. Remember her, because she becomes very important.
I feel like she might be haunting people.
We can only hope for the sake of this story.
I feel like I know, but I'm scared.
So let's now continue to the documented hauntings of the castles.
So there's actually like, I mean, obviously this is all documented, but obviously multiple people have experienced
multiple reports and multiple document histories of people seeing things, hearing things, feeling things, seeing things. These started, so all of these documented hauntings are from the 1860s to the present day.
Damn, don't the ghost gets tired?
I think they do. There's this whole thing about all of these places that are super haunted, which everyone visits, and then they see the energy is lacking, if I can say that in air quotes, and then it means the ghosts are tired because they constantly have to communicate with people who want to have an experience.
But also, look, as I said, I'm a skeptic, but what I've heard is that for a ghost to, I want to say, communicate, it takes a lot of energy for them to do that, to become visible to people in the real world. So
that's why a lot of people either start feeling faint or they start feeling nauseous.
That's drawing energy from
drawing energy, allegedly electromagnetic fields. So it's taking that energy from people, it takes it from electronic devices, all of those kinds of things, for them to actually get the energy they need to communicate one tiny little thing with you. But I digress. The Castle of Good Hope is a place where tens of thousands of enslaved people suffered, where prisoners drowned in chains, where a soldier hanged himself from a bell rope, where a governor was cursed and died of terror in his chair, where a woman's body was sealed into the walls and forgotten for centuries. Is anyone surprised that this place is haunted?
I would genuinely be more surprised if this place wasn't haunted.
Exactly. Let me walk you through what people have seen. And I want to be clear, these are documented reports. Multiple independent witnesses across decades, in some cases across centuries. You can believe whatever you want about ghosts, but the consistency of the accounts is, at the very least, remarkable.
Especially if people are like experiencing the same things.
That's the thing. If they are experiencing like the same kinds of things and the same things over and over and over again, that's a haunting. That is the true definition of a haunting.
Or some people are just like, I'm just like, I saw the same thing that that person saw.
Yeah, like, and then someone's going to be like, that's weird. Let's go home. Right. So let's start with the lady in grey.
That's terrifying. Sorry. I hate anything to do with, like, you know,
And it's
like
always
this very old lady.
It's always a
Lady's like gray hair.
Yeah, it's always a lady in grey or a lady in white or a lady in red.
Yes.
It's always
the lady
those
looks
colours.
great.
Or the lady looks great. Those are the colours of paranormal investigators. So, first spotted in 1860 by a young woman. A figure in a long grey cloak, crying, covering her face, running through the castle in what witnesses describe as desperate distress. She was seen repeatedly over the following decades. In 1947, during the royal tour, when the British royal family came to Cape Town for Princess Elizabeth's 21st birthday. Not Queen Elizabeth, that when she was still Princess Elizabeth. Her 21st birthday. The lady in grey was reported seen by several people, including, according to multiple accounts, Princess Margaret.
The Princess Margaret.
The Princess Margaret.
I feel like if the princess is seeing ghosts and they care about their reputation and they claim that they've seen a ghost, like, I feel like that's probably something you can take quite seriously.
I think so, but also they care too much about their reputation. They're like, I saw nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like they care so much about their reputation, they wouldn't just make up a story about seeing a ghost. They'd be like, cool, asylum bar. Especially in that time when mental health was very
frowned upon.
Yes.
Like, let's not even sugarcoat it. It was frowned upon. Mental health? Who?
What?
We don't know her. It gets a little strange here. So remember the female skeleton found near the Sally Gate in the 1940s? After the skeleton was unearthed, after the remains were removed from the walls, sightings of the lady in grey stopped. For a time. As if finding her body had given her some kind of rest, though some accounts suggest she has been seen intermittently since.
That's actually really sad. Like, she wanted to be put to rest, you know, like she wanted to, like...
Because let's imagine the scenario, because she was found within the castle walls.
Maybe she was trying to be found.
Yeah, so maybe either she died under mysterious circumstances or she was murdered, and someone placed her body in those walls knowing that she would never be found.
Yeah.
And then when they unearthed her remains, it's like she found peace.
Yeah.
Which is,
I'll leave you alone now.
Which is a little heartbreaking if you think about
really.
it. Then we have the tall figure on the battlements. This goes back to the soldier who ran in a chute.
Tall figures. Is he very tall?
Oh, I'm about to shock you. First reported in 1915.
That's fairly recent.
That's fairly recent. Yeah,
it was something like just, I don't know, a couple, just over 100 years ago. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's very compared to like 1700.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, then it absolutely makes sense. A figure approximately 2 meters tall, 6.5 feet, seen standing on the battlements.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
The same.
Was he a dark figure? Because that's scary. Slender man.
Probably. Let's read to find out. But what do you think if like the people in the 1600s saw Slender Man? What do you think they would say?
I don't know. They would probably try and do an exorcism or something.
Yeah, they would be like, I saw the most sickly man. There's a man out there in the woods. He is sickly. They would probably try and find him and rescue him.
All I was imagining is like this dark, shadowy figure just like standing over the battlements, looking down. I'm like, imagine seeing that. I feel like I'd poop myself.
No. That's to put it delicately. Yes. That's to put it very, very delicately. So no, it probably was the case. He was seen again in 1947.
He waited like 32 years.
Yeah, I think maybe he's one of those that's happy in himself and spending time by himself, and then every so once
he just appears to destroy someone else's
just like, you know what? I feel like going outside.
I feel like destroying someone else's life.
Yeah, you know what I haven't done in a while? Scarred someone.
Yes.
So in 1947, observed over a period of several weeks, right? So witnesses described a glowing, so it's not dark, a glowing semi-transparent figure that was seen walking between the Leerdam and Oranje bastions. One witness said the figure was leaning over a parapet, peering down into Darling Street, as if watching the city, as if waiting for something.
That sounds sad though. Actually,
It does.
It sounds less ominous, more sad.
The fact that he's like a glowing, like semi-transparent figure.
Looking over the city, watching the...
Yeah, just watching. It does make it a little sad. In July 1947 alone, the figure was seen on 3 separate occasions at 3-day intervals. Corporal Buenzayer, bless this man. He decided to rule out a prank. Sorry. He ordered Private Sneyghans to dress in a bedsheet and haunt the battlements. The gathered soldiers were not fooled. They knew the difference.
You know, I think they would be able to tell the difference between a glowing, transparent figure versus a literal man in a bedsheet.
An actual corporeal bedsheet.
Like,
yeah. So you never know. Soldiers, if it was war times, they were probably sleep deprived. But the fact that they knew the difference.
The fact that the solution was like,
let's
get a soldier, you know, a real man that's seen war, and, you know, he's hardened probably, and let's just throw him up in a bedsheet and put him on the battlements, and, you know,
and see if the people, and they were all like, oh, look, yeah, it's Sneyghans over there, man. We know. We know. Don't try and fool us.
That's not the glowing figure that we've seen.
Yeah, listen, we've seen something more beautiful. That is absolute rubbish.
The Wish version.
Yeah, you have the tall figure, and then you have the Wish version, the Timu version. Yes. Bedsheet. Here we get back to the man we all love to hate, Governor van Noort.
I don't like this guy.
Yeah, no. We don't like him. We don't know him. So workers and visitors across decades, independent of each other, with no prior knowledge of the history, have reported encountering a figure in period clothing walking the corridors of the castle with an air of authority. See, even in death, this man is like, I am better than you. We said that if you were mean in life, you were mean in death. So the reports...
Is he like, I'm the king of the castle?
I'm the king of the castle. He's looking at everyone being like, first of all, what are you wearing? You are underdressed. Also, what are you doing here?
This is mine.
This is my place. The reports are consistent. Sudden temperature drops. A heavy, oppressive feeling. And some witnesses claim to hear him cursing and swearing in the rooms where he once lived. Well, he sounds like a peach, doesn't he?
It does. Such a nice guy.
The man who refused to watch his own cruelty carried out, apparently still pacing the halls where he gave the order.
I still think it's kind of karma for what he did.
Oh, absolutely.
But the temperature drops is that is quite significant.
Yes. So a temperature drop, and people also report,
I've heard that a lot,
like having a heavy feeling, or like
that feeling like something
is enclosing on you, you can't breathe. So that is how you know the person was not a good person.
But I think all boasties are supposed to, well, not supposed to, but a lot of them I've heard create temperature drops.
Yes. So a lot of them tend to create temperature drops.
Yeah.
And some of them have also influenced time, if you can believe that. So there are some reports of experiments being done. We're going completely off tangent here, but bear with me for a minute or two, where they would take 2 hourglasses, well, let's say a minute, the 60. Let's say you take the one from your little charades box.
Yeah.
And you have 2 of those and you put them into different rooms. Some people report time slowing down and the sand flowing slower, or some people report time speeding up and the sand flowing faster.
But me being a skeptic isn't just like one of the ghosts just like ding, ding, ding. Someone's like, make the sand fall down faster.
He's like, he's so into. He's like, what is this? And he's tapping the tears. They're like, get the sand to pull down.
I would do that.
You know, I never thought of it that way. Thank you for putting that lovely picture into my head. That is actually really endearing.
Racing with people.
Okay, so back on track. Let's get back to Lady Anne Barnard. Lady Anne Barnard, she lived at the castle from 1797 to 1802, so a short time.
Mm-hmm.
The wife of the colonial secretary, Andrew Barnard. She was the colony's first lady, very auspicious title. So she was responsible for entertaining dignitaries, and by all accounts, she was an absolute character. Vivacious, colorful, she transformed the Great Hall into a ballroom. She hosted the most extravagant events, and she kept meticulous records, drawings, descriptions, and diaries. She was also known for bathing nude in the dolphin pool. See, that is a powerful woman.
I feel like this woman's goals, you know?
Yes. She is literally like, I am queen
She of this notion.
literal castle. And I think it's time. Yeah. I think it's time to know who I am to go into my dolphin pool and bathe.
Mm-hmm.
Like whoever sees, first of all,
even just calling it bathing, like we don't say bathe.
Bathing.
Like,
yeah, you're like, I'm going for a
I want to say
shower.
bathe more often. It sounds so fancy.
And then you get into your little tub made with that has been damaged probably because we're all hiring. So yeah, that was a pool within the castle grounds.
It sounds gorgeous.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds so regal.
Mm-hmm.
An officer formally complained that her habit of plunging into the pool naked was unladylike. The response, oh my goodness, the response. They built steps into the water, not to stop her, just to make her entry more dignified.
I genuinely love this lady. I want to be like her. She's my favorite person right now. She's great.
Like, listen, you can't go plunging into laces. So they're like, we will build you steps.
But also, good for that guy. Like, he wasn't even like complaining. You're like, no, she's being ladylike, jumping. How dare she
does that? And they're
jump
like,
into a pool without
don't worry, we hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, it's like, here's some stairs.
Here's some
now
stairs.
she looks better while doing it.
Absolute goals. She was in her 40s. Her husband was 12 years younger.
Damn,
it's a goals already. She was a sugar mommy. She was not a woman who cared what people thought.
I want to be like that.
We all want to be Lady Anne Barnard. We all want to be her. Well, let's see if we still do. I haven't seen anything about oppression. Apparently, she still doesn't care what people think about her because her ghost has been seen at the castle ever since. A transparent figure in an 18th century ball gown seen at functions held for dignitaries. Still hosting, still entertaining. Guests and staff have reported seeing her in a white flowing dress roaming the halls.
I thought they were going to say this. We're naked.
We might still see. We still have her little section. Let's see. Some have seen her seated at an invisible piano.
That makes no sense.
That makes no sense, but I also think if you're going to see a ghost in an invisible piano, you're going to think the ghost is crazy. So others report hearing laughter. Others catch the scent of rose perfume, said to have been her favorite fragrance.
Oh, I love that.
Right? She just sounds lovely.
She does. Breath of fresh air.
And here's like a detail that got me. So when the dolphin pool, her pool, was restored in later years, using her own drawings and descriptions as a guide, reports of her sightings increased. As if she'd been waiting for someone to remember.
Yeah, I love that. She's just waiting for a pool to be back. And
She's like, listen, I want to go bathe in the nude.
she's just, it genuinely sounds like she's living her best ghosty life.
That is it.
Like, she lived her best life when she was alive, and now she's
And now she's still living her best life.
Yeah.
What an
Best
absolute icon.
She's living her best death.
Absolute icon. But now we get to something a little less regal and fun and effortless. The Black Dog and the Night Watch.
That name is already a lot.
It's giving scary. So a spectral black dog is said to haunt the castle grounds. The phantom hound approaches visitors at a full sprint, leaps at them, and vanishes inches from their face. No contact, no marks. Just the experience of a large, dark animal launching itself at you and then ceasing to exist.
You know, I feel like not only would I need therapy after that, I would also need to change my
Not in that order, though.
Yeah, no. First, change my pants. First, no, that's for scary.
That is like
Dogs are scary. Well, dogs can be scary.
Dogs can be
terrify
terrifying.
you up. No thanks.
Wild animals are terrifying. But something literally sprinting full speed at you,
and then just going,
jumping at you, and then just disappearing.
And like you're bracing yourself and everything.
You
You feel that
brace yourself,
adrenaline, like
covering your face, and then all of a sudden it's not there. No, that is one of my worst fears,
nah.
especially when it's dark. And no,
That's the part when I leave.
Yeah, I think if that were happening to me, I would be like, call animal control. There's a dog here that I don't like. So the bell tower, sealed since the 1700s, suicide, still produces unexplainable ringing. Still. Don't we just love that? Guards working the night shift, particularly the 2 to 4 a.m. rotation, report hearing voices and footsteps in the dungeon corridors. Some guards have refused to patrol past the Donkergat, describing a powerful force, like a vacuum that seems to draw them in. Others have reported full-bodied apparitions, unexplained smells, physical sensations of pressure on the chest, and icy chills. Some guards have resigned because of this. They have not transferred, not requested a different shift. They full up said, I am leaving, walking away from the job entirely because of what they experienced inside those halls.
The craziest thing is that these are like military people. They've probably seen some crazy stuff in their life, and they see this and like, I'm out.
They hear this, they smell that,
I'm like, cool, thanks, bye.
Can you then imagine like the actual sensation or what they're
It
experiencing?
must be
and
such
what
a
is
powerful like force or feeling.
It's like the fact that they say it like vacuums them into that hole as if something dark is
Like a black hole.
side. Oh goodness, that's terrifying.
I want you know in Harry Potter where they have the dimensions and it like it's literally like us picturing that, but like into.
But it's something that's like literally having like long spindly fingers, like reaching out to you and
spindly
like
fingers.
Yes, spindly fingers, the best of fingers. But I want to go. Like this has sold me. I want to go visit this castle. In 2010, the paranormal television program Ghost Hunters International investigated the castle. Yeah, no, I'm thinking of Ghost Adventures, the one with Zach Bagans. Wait, let's not get into it. That's a story for another day. But okay, thank goodness. It's Ghost Hunters International, people. False alarm. They investigated the castle. They detected unexplained sounds and temperature anomalies. Paranormal researchers have recorded what they described as ghostly voices and dark figures in the Donkergat, commonly attributed to the spirits of enslaved people or prisoners who died in that darkness. And I want to sit with that for a second, because whatever you believe about the supernatural, the historical fact remains that people suffered enormously in that building. Enslaved people, prisoners, soldiers, women whose names we'll never know. If there is such a thing as a place absorbing what happened in it, and if stone can hold pain, then the Castle of Good Hope has been saturated for 3.5 centuries.
I think it's crazy because, you know, I do believe in I always say items having energy, because everything has some kind of frequency or energy. So obviously that area has been so saturated in pain and heartbreak and tragedy. It's obviously affecting everything around it. Of course,
Yeah,
you
no,
don't have that terrible energy.
It's like literally like blood seeped into the walls, absorbed by stone. It's a huge amount of trauma for a singular place.
Yeah.
And it like we said, it's bound to have repercussions, and we are feeling that whenever we go to these places. The castle is only half of this story, because the other half is out on the water. And it's been out there since before the castle was built. And that, dear listeners, is where I'm going to stop today.
Gotta be kidding.
Oh, I know. I love on an absolute cliffhanger, pun intended. But that is where we're going to start today.
Well, let's see, for me, I get to hear this soon because we're recording straight after this.
We are recording this in one day. But yeah, we're going to leave you hanging. We are absolutely going to leave you hanging. Let's get with the usual formalities. That has been Specters of the Cape, Part 1.
The castle.
The castle. 4 centuries of the dead who won't leave. Thank you so much for listening to H That's Dark. If this one's sitting with you, share it. Tell someone. That's how we grow. You can find us at H That's Dark on Instagram and TikTok. We're on all podcast platforms. Rate us, review us, send us your case suggestions. We read everything. Send it to htat'sdark@gmail.com.
We want your darkest recommendations, but please make sure they're responsibly dark.
Yes, please. Do not scar us for life. And that is us for today.
Stay safe and stay skeptical.
And maybe don't be a douche in life, because your ghost is going to be a douche as well. And you might emit unpleasant smells.
Yes.
Yeah. But don't fart.
Don't do
you're
that.
A ghost.
We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.